get you in. And I'm shooting shit like Scorsese. Get you whacked, ain't nobody made me. I'm the godfather of this shit, godfather. And you ain't gon' sell me like a bitch. Godfather. Coleon. Shoot. Like Scorsese. Ain't nobody made me. I ain't no bitch.
All right, guys, welcome back to Championship Rounds. It's been a little minute and we haven't had much NFL coverage on the channel, but thought I'd come back for a late season update, just an update on the status quo, if you will, of the NFL after, it's been very, very eventful, if you will. And I got my boy Eric Workman on the line. He's picking up his boys from school, so I thought, what the hell? Might as well get some NFL coverage in here. Eric, what's up? Pleasantries aside, let's jump into it, guys. On Thursday Night Football, the Vegas Raiders shit the bed and allow the Rams with Baker Mayfield on a day's notice, days and a half notice, come in and win. Eric, what the hell's going on with the Vegas Raiders, whom were on a little bit of a roll beforehand?
Yeah, I mean, they just proved who they are, man. They're a very inconsistent team. They lack the cohesiveness to really put any consistent product out for a long time. And then, they obviously dropped the ball at the end of the game and let a huge late touchdown drive go by Baker Mayfield that I believe it was about 30 hours before the game. They called him up and told him that he might play.
I mean, how the hell did he even know the plays? I mean, I still got people on my social media. I'm not going to say any names. Michael Strong, Boo City. I'm not going to say any names, though, but they're still holding out hope that these Raiders are going to make the playoffs. Do you see it happening, Eric? Because they haven't mathematically been eliminated yet.
And I get it. I mean, they pulled out some 11th hour bullshit last year to sneak in there when they beat the Chargers in overtime. So there's always a possibility, but they got the weapons to do it if they can string something together. But I don't see it happening. I don't think that lightning strikes in the same place twice and they squeeze out another one this year. So no, I don't see that happening.
Enough about the Vegas Raiders. Let's move on to Sunday. What we just witnessed yesterday, it was a large in part defensive struggle, but when they started going, they started going. And I'm talking about the New York Jets, Robert Saleh's boys, against the Buffalo Bills. Yes. What do you think happened that clicked in the near halftime where they started actually scoring points? Because it was large in part, like I said, a defensive struggle, but the Bills did end up pulling it out. The Jets still proved formidable.
Yeah, I mean, you had some halftime adjustments. I feel like the score was a little bit more one-sided than what it played out at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. The Jets scored a little bit late to make it an 8-point game, and then, they couldn't get the ball back to really do much with it. But the Bills, I mean, they were getting after Mike White. They were hitting him hard. They made Joe Flacco fumble when he came in relief. I mean, they were definitely getting in there. The Jets do have a solid defense, but still a little too young and too unproven an offense to really do a whole lot. But they're still in the playoff mix as well, since they've been playing pretty decent this season, though. But just one of those teams that might get to the dance, but I don't think there's any danger of going anywhere after that.
Well, I don't know.
It's going to be a win for them just to get. It's going to be a win for them just to get to the playoffs.
Well, people said that about the Niners last year. You know what I mean? When our defense was definitely beasting, we had the weapons on offense, but we'll get to that. Defense wins championships. I've seen great defenses run a shit offense all the way to the dance, and I've seen them actually fucking win it too. But we're not going to go all the way into that. Let's move it along. Deshaun Watson makes his second appearance as a Browns quarterback, although I didn't see any flashes of his elite quarterback status that he held in Houston. The Browns held on for a while, but the Bengals proved to be the superior team, and a lot of people are chirping that Jacoby Brissett might be the better option at the quarterback position. What's up, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, right now he probably is. I mean, Deshaun Watson wasn't able to practice with the team throughout the season for the most part, and has missed a lot of football. I mean, I believe last week they said it had been like 700 some days since he been on the football field to play a game. So the dude's going to be rusty. It's going to take him a while. He's an athletic talent, got a great arm, and once he gets synced up with his players and stuff, it'll be good. But I mean, it's the nature of the beast. Like nobody's plug and play in this league. Like everybody has to be getting their reps in and have the timing down with their receivers, and get a feel for where they're going and what they're thinking on things to be able to make it all work. And I think that he's still missing that.
The Bengals proved to be the superior team, as I said. Do you see them making a deep run into the playoffs with their defense, whom are opportunistic, unheralded, but the offense, when they're clicking, they prove they can go with anybody. As you see, they beat the Chiefs last week, and then they came out here and handled their business against Cleveland.
Yeah, they got a puncher's chance with anybody in the AFC. So I definitely think that they're a contender again this year. And
all right.
Super Bowl hangover is really not a thing for them.
Got you. Sorry, just trying to shorten the takes a little bit because I know we're pressed for time here. Mm-hmm. All right, so the Battle of Texas, and as far as professional football is concerned, you got the Houston Texans, whom have one win on the season, going in against the Dallas Cowboys, whom were favored minus, I think, 2,000 to win before the game, and it proved, and they were favored by 17.5 points, and they had to fight all the way to the end. They needed a touchdown. They got it. They win, but this shouldn't have been, on paper, this shouldn't have been a game. Yes, the Houston Texans are an NFL franchise. They're an NFL team, but they're the Houston Texans. Eric, this should not have been close. Why was it? And does this tell us anything about the Cowboys going forward?
I mean, we all know that the Cowboys are inconsistent. There's little flaws in their game and stuff that they can't handle. Dak turns it over at inopportune times, things along those lines. But like you said, Battle of Texas, man. It's the Texans have nothing else to play for. This is like their Super Bowl, essentially, for them. They came out there and were playing well for most of the game, and Dallas wasn't. Dallas is still going to be good enough to get to the playoffs. And it'll probably be an unceremonious exit from the playoffs for them as well. So Dallas is who we thought they were. I didn't see anything to deter me for that. They can play up to competition, but they play down to competition as well. And I feel like they did that this week. So nothing spectacular here.
I concur, and I think that when they play a defense that's actually good enough to stagnate their offense, they're in a lot of trouble. But we're moving on. We're moving on to the Motor City. Yes, the Detroit Lions pulled it off against a team that's fighting for first place in not just their division, but in the NFC as a whole, maybe even the NFL. I'm talking about the Minnesota Vikings, whom traveled to the Motor City and didn't come away victoriously. It was a high-scoring affair for the Lions, whom just did the damn thing. And they've won 5 of their last 6, Eric, but is this too little too late? I think so. And although this is good, it looks good going forward for the future. What does this say about the Lions this season, and what does it say about the Vikings?
I mean, division rivals, so I don't think it says much about the Vikings. They play these guys twice a year, and the Detroit Lions have one of the better offenses in the league, period. They have weapons everywhere. They just got a young weapon in Jameson Williams that came in there and got a touchdown and stuff on his first NFL catch. That should be a great contributor going forward. They got a really solid offense, but still one of the worst defenses in the league. So that's probably going to get them in some trouble to where they might not be able to eke out a playoff spot. But yeah, it's some problems going forward, but I think they're still a year out before they really get going on it, and hopefully they can keep their pieces together this offseason and build on that next year.
Well, I concur. I mean, think about that division. They've proven good enough to beat the best team in it, being the Vikings, the Packers. Who knows how they're going to look going forward, and the Bears have proven to be highly beatable, although Justin Fields is dynamic. So they're definitely looking like a playoff team, if not this season, which is looking bleak, but definitely going forward with the state of their division. But moving forward, we're going to the Empire State, if you will. The New York Giants, the football Giants, were made. Let's just say that the Eagles made mice of men when they traveled, to the Empire State and beat the smoke off of the Giants. We know who the Eagles are. The Giants have looked good. They had a winning record. It was pretty much smoke and mirrors because, when they play an elite team, we see what happens. What's up, Eric? They know that.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
They're 7. Yeah, they're 7-5-1. They've had a good season so far, but the Eagles are the cream of the crop of the whole NFL, not just the NFC. I mean, they look like the best team all around. Their offense is potent. I mean, how we do every week. You can pick 4 fucking touchdown scores, anytime touchdown scores off of them. You know what I mean? And like we did this week. So that's once again, it was what we thought would happen, and they came out there and everybody played their roles.
All right, short and sweet. I like it. We're moving on. We're moving on to Pittsburgh. Yeah, the Baltimore Ravens came to town with Huntley at quarterback, and Pickett was at quarterback in Pittsburgh. He went down, and the homie, what's his face? Go ahead and say it. Mitchell Trubisky came in and did nothing but throw interceptions. The Bengals limped away with a 16-14 victory. Eric, the Bengals are going to the damn playoffs. I mean, these are, at this point, like, I'm rooting for
the Ravens.
The Ravens. My bad. Good. Thank you for catching that. The Ravens are going to the playoffs. They've won like 9 games or something like that. Like, I've been rooting for the Steelers to win because Tomlin's not had a losing season, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen as he dropped another one here. But I know the Ravens. I almost said the Bengals again. I know the Ravens aren't going to do anything in the postseason. I mean, but they're going to make it, man. Do you think that? I mean, what do you think? Perhaps Lamar Jackson comes back for the playoffs and then they're dangerous? Or I mean, what's their ceiling in Eric's mind?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. They're too banged up right now. They're definitely way too injured to be a contender. It was a war of attrition that day. I think I can't remember exactly, but I thought Huntley was out for a couple of snaps too, and they were on like the third string quarterback.
You're right.
But so yeah, it's just it's a hard sell when you're that banged up to put any expectations on the team. They're showing up and they have a good program and they put up a worthwhile effort every week. So yeah, that's all they're doing right now, and they're hanging in there.
Do you think it's a possibility that they're a team that if they get Lamar back, that they could make a run into the playoffs? Or again, is it?
Yeah, I mean maybe a game or two, but I think there's too many other well-rounded AFC teams that have multiple ways of beating you.
Fair enough.
That are healthier, that could probably stand a better chance.
Got you. The Tennessee Titans, whom people think, people have held in high regard, the last couple of seasons. They drop a game to Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence looking damn good, if I may say myself. I mean, maybe that's by virtue of the Tennessee Titans' lack of prowess on defense. But again, they drop another game, and I mean, is Tennessee a contender here? I mean, somebody's got to win that division, right? And I think it's going to be Tennessee. But at the end of the day, go ahead.
I think it's gonna be Tennessee as well. I mean, the Jaguars have had a lot of high draft picks for a lot of years. Mm-hmm. I mean, they have a lot of talented players on that roster, and they've just finally gotten a few, strung some healthy streaks together to where they're not banged up, and they've gotten everybody out there and playing for the most part.
Are they a better team than the Titans?
No, I think they have flashes to where they can play better like most teams, but they can't consistently put a better product on the field. So I think the Titans are still the class of that division right now.
So you're pretty much just going to chalk that up to a familiar divisional foe.
Yeah, and a good young up and coming team that's showing some flashes of positive play out there.
The Denver Broncos suck, but they managed to only lose by 6 against the perennial Super Bowl contender Kansas City Chiefs, whose coach Andy Reid has a habit of drawing mustaches on his players when they fall asleep on the plane. But we're not going to go there. Eric, what does this say about the Chiefs, whom did just enough to win on Sunday?
We're going to have to cut it short, bud. The kids are coming now, and it looks like it's a rough day, so.
All right.
We'll have to get this going with these fools.
All right, I'll take it from here. All right, so that was it for Eric. As I mentioned, he was picking up the boys from school, but the Kansas City Chiefs did just enough to beat the Denver Broncos on Sunday. And I don't think it says much about the Kansas City Chiefs. After all, they won the game. The Denver Broncos are an NFL team, and their defense is pretty good, kept them around. So I think that, this is just another game where Andy Reid and company are just rolling on and rolling into the playoffs hot, with a string of victories. Because, they dropped the game to the Bengals. They bounced back, and they didn't look, spectacular. But again, Denver has a good defense, so what are you going to do? They won the game. What else are you going to ask from them? Is that a train? I got the window open right here. I'm sorry. But we're moving on because we're going to wrap this up real quick. You got the Carolina Panthers, who are still fighting for a stake in that division. And they're fighting to win that division, the worst division in the NFL, if you will. They go in there and they handle business, and they defeat the Seattle Seahawks, whom everybody's big on Geno Smith for good reason. But he doesn't get it done. They lose 24-30. And the Panthers stay alive. Yes, their playoffs hopes are not dead. And I don't think the Seattle Seahawks are either, but both teams have to win. The likelihood of the Panthers winning, it's crazy. They let go of their quarterback. They let go of their wide receiver. They've made several moves. I don't have to catalog them. So for them to be still alive with the crap record that they have is it unprecedented? I don't know, because it seems like there's always a crap division that somebody's got to win. But does everybody usually suck? There's usually one team that's doing something positive. Is this division gonna end completely below 500? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I think so. Either way, the Panthers aren't dead. They're still fighting the Bucks for that division. And speaking of the Bucks, they too got the smoke beat off of them by my Niners. Yes, the Brock Purdy show. The weapons are still there. Debo went down. It's not as serious as we all thought, thankfully. And we're on quarterback number 3. We got Josh Johnson coming in behind Brock Purdy. And honestly, this is crazy for people to hear me say this, but as far as running our offense, the three quarterbacks that I have seen run our offense, being Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, and now Brock Purdy. If I had to rank them on who could run this offense the best, well, I don't know. I got a lot of examples or film study or matter to compare with Jimmy. He's the one with the most experience, so he's the one with the most to criticize. You can make caveats to everybody else, but I'm just going to put that aside based on what I've seen on the field for my boys. Trey Lance, Brock Purdy, Jimmy Garoppolo. Brock Purdy hasn't thrown an interception yet. It got called back. The man's thrown touchdowns in both of the games he's showed up in. Both of them. He can hand the ball off. He can do the fakes. He can do the reads. Can he call the audibles? Does he know exactly what defenses he's looking at? We don't know. Sunday showed us how important coaching is. It's not coincidental that this guy can come in and run our offense like he's been playing all damn year. It's not coincidental. So kudos to Shanahan and company and his coordinators. But back to my point. If I had to rank the guys that look the best running our offense, I'm going to put Trey Lance at number 3. I got to put Trey Lance at number 3. And Jimmy and Brock, you know what I mean, are right there on par with each other. And because why would I put Brock above Jimmy? He's got more to criticize because he's been there. He's been great. He's been not so great. And I'm sure Brock Purdy, he's not going to be tremendous the whole time he plays for us. Nobody's seen him play. They don't have a lot of film on him to know his tendencies. But believe me, this is the NFL, and when they can understand Brock Purdy's tendencies, things are going to get tougher for him. It's a good thing we have such a dynamic rushing game. We beat the smoke off of the Buccaneers. They said Jimmy might not be done for the season. Either way, my hopes are high. My hopes are high. Was it 6 games in a row? Let's go. And we're going to move on to the next game that happened Sunday night. It was the Miami Dolphins playing the Los Angeles Chargers. And yeah, the Los Angeles Chargers might have lost to the Raiders last week, and Justin Herbert and company might not be living up to all the hype and all the expectations that I'm sure they had coming into the season. But at the end of the day, what is going on with the Dolphins? You know, last week when you guys played us, when they played us, the Niners, they chalked it up. Well, the Niners got a good defense, and then even with that, the Miami, you know, Tua missed some throws early, but they got going eventually. Why has Tua been so stagnant? Did the Chargers mirror what my boys did last week? You know, has Tua been figured out? You know, the touchdown, the fumble recovery that squirted out to the fastest player in the NFL, and he took it all the way to the house. And then another one, Tua throws it up to him, defender falls down, easy pitch and catch, touchdown. That was their touchdowns, both of them. Miscues. So, with that being said, what is going on with Miami? They were looking red damn hot. Well, they better figure it out. Or they're going to make a quick playoff exit. That's what I think. And that's for the Chargers. They ain't going to the playoffs either. I don't know what's going on with them, but they're not going to the playoffs either. They need to retool and figure things out for next year as well. And I'm going to close things off with Monday Night Football. Yeah, tonight. Patriots and the Cardinals. Who do I got? Bill Belichick speaking very highly of DeAndre Hopkins. He tends to do that. He tends to speak highly of them. Why would he not? Why would he say, oh, they suck over there, and then they get beat by him? Well, where does that leave you? You said they suck, so what does that say? That's what I don't get about people saying that their opponents suck or they're trash or you know, plug in insult. Because what happens if they defeat you? What does that say about you? You just set yourself up for that. Guys, do I care who wins? Not really. I hope the Cardinals win because it'll just strengthen strengthen the perception of the NFC West, the division that my team plays in. I like when our victories age well. The Bengals, when we beat them in overtime last season, that aged well. They went to the Super Bowl. When we beat the Rams last year twice, that aged well. They went to the Super Bowl, won it, which it was us. But the Dolphins, that didn't age well. They got beat again this week. So I hope the Cardinals get it done. And if not, who cares? But you got Bill Belichick going in there against, I think Kyler Murray's back. Hopkins is back. We'll see what happens. I'm probably going to put a single game parlay down. I hope it's not a defensive struggle. I'm trying to cash in. Guys, that is the late season NFL update, if you will. And of course, if you like the content, it's going to keep coming back at you again and again. Like, share, comment, subscribe. And as always, until next time, stay frosty.